It started with a single roll of film, a relic from another time, delivered to the wrong address, or so they thought. The pictures inside would unravel a story the walls of their new home had tried to forget. The story begins in the summer of 2021. Mark and Sarah Clark, along with their 8-year-old daughter Lily, were looking for a new beginning. They found it in a remote corner of rural Oregon, in a small town called Havenwood. Their new home was an architectural statement, a modern design of glass and cedar, sitting alone on a hill overlooking a dense forest. It had been a foreclosure, empty for years. For the Clarks, it was a sanctuary, a place to escape the noise of the city. Mark, an architect, saw beauty in its lines. Sarah, a writer, found inspiration in the silence, and Lily found a forest to call her own. For 3 months, life was exactly as they had imagined it, peaceful, unremarkable, until the first package arrived. It was a small brown padded envelope. No return address, just their name and their new address, written in neat, anonymous block letters. Inside, there was no note, only a single black plastic canister containing a roll of 35mm film. They assumed it was a mistake, a delivery meant for a previous resident. Mark, a hobbyist photographer in his youth, had an old developing kit stored in the basement. Out of simple curiosity, he decided to see what was on it. The first images that emerged from the chemical bath were mundane, black and white photographs of their own house, but decades earlier. A family was in them, a man, a woman, and a young boy smiling in the summer sun on the very deck where Sarah now drank her morning coffee. A week later, another envelope appeared in the mailbox, identical to the first. Mark developed this roll as well, the same house, the same family, but something had changed. The smiles were gone. The parents appeared tired, distant from each other. The boy was often pictured alone, staring out a window. The angles were different too. Some photos were taken from the woods, looking in, as if the photographer was an observer, a trespasser. The deliveries became a quiet, unnerving routine. Every few days, a new roll of film, a new chapter in a story they couldn't understand. The images grew darker. A picture of the father, sitting alone in a dark room, his face a mask of despair. The mother, blurry, as if captured mid-argument. Then, a photo of the boy's bedroom, empty, toys scattered across the floor, an open suitcase on the bed. The Clarks were no longer just curious, they were afraid. They contacted the Havenwood Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Brody listened patiently, but offered little comfort. According to town records, the house's previous owner was a man named Elias Vance. He had been a reclusive artist, a photographer, and according to every official record, he had lived and died completely alone. Elias Vance. The name echoed in Mark's mind. He spent days searching online, through archives of local artists. Vance was known for his strange, unsettling photography. His work explored themes of memory and loss, but there was no mention of a wife or a son. And something else was wrong. The clothes, the cars in the background of those early, happy photos, they were from the 1970s. Elias Vance didn't buy the house until 1994. The story in the photographs had no connection to the known history of the house. Sarah, meanwhile, took a different approach. She spent hours at the Havenwood Historical Society, sifting through dusty records and faded newspapers. She discovered that before their house was built, the land had been home to a series of tragedies. A fire in the 1920s, a family that vanished without a trace in the 1950s. The locals called the hill Whisperer's Knoll. She was told it was just old folklore, ghost stories to scare teenagers. Sarah, meanwhile, took a different approach. She spent hours at the Havenwood Historical Society, sifting through dusty records and faded newspapers. She discovered that before their house was built, the land had been home to a series of tragedies. A fire in the 1920s, a family that vanished without a trace in the 1950s. The locals called the hill Whisperer's Knoll. She was told it was just old folklore, ghost stories to scare teenagers. Frustrated by the dead ends, Mark returned to the one place that held a tangible connection to the mystery, the darkroom. He ran his hands along the walls, the floor, searching for anything Vance might have left behind. Under an old cabinet, a floorboard creaked with a hollow sound. Prying it open, he found a small, rusted lockbox. Inside, more prints. They were all of Elias Vance, but in each one, his face was artfully, maddeningly obscured by shadow or reflection. And beneath them, a single handwritten note. It read, "I don't take the pictures. The house does. I just develop its memories." Back at the house, the atmosphere grew heavier. Doors would click shut in empty hallways. Faint whispers seemed to bleed through the vents at night. Lily started talking about a new friend, a boy named Thomas, who lived in the walls and showed her old pictures in her dreams. She said he was lonely. He wanted his family back. Then the last envelope came. It felt heavier, colder to the touch. In the darkroom, under the dim red safety light, Mark's hands trembled as he worked. The first few frames on the negative strip were black. Then an image began to resolve itself. It was Sarah, asleep at her desk, taken 2 nights ago through the window of her study. The next photo was of Lily playing on the swing set in the backyard. Her back was to the camera. The next was a picture of Mark himself, in his own bed, asleep. The photo was taken from the foot of the bed, from inside his own room. Mark's heart hammered against his ribs. He unspooled the final section of the negative. The last photograph was almost entirely black, but as his eyes adjusted, he saw it, the faint grain of wood, the outline of a doorknob. It was a picture of the darkroom door, taken from the inside. The packages stopped, as suddenly as they had begun. The police investigated but found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no person of interest. The woods surrounding the house were searched. They found only silence. The family in the old photographs was never identified. They remained ghosts, trapped on celluloid, their story unfinished. Elias Vance, the solitary photographer, had been dead for 2 years before the Clarks moved in. He could not have been the one watching them. The Clarks still live in that house, their windows now covered with heavy blinds. The quiet they sought has been replaced by a different kind of silence, a heavy, watchful one. The pictures stopped coming, but the feeling of being watched never left. It raises a final, chilling question. A photograph captures a moment in time. But who develops the film when the photographer is gone? If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe for more similar videos, and I shall see you next time.